Okay, so people, Babylon 5, The Road Home. Man, it's kind of crazy, right? Because this was such an incredible franchise. And like you wanted it to continue, but it just seemed like nothing was going to happen. There'd been teases over the years that we were going to get a new film, a new series, something, but it never panned out. Then all of a sudden, J. Michael Straczynski, throws up an image and is like, something's coming. And then we find out we're getting an animated film. So you're just like, yo, okay, let's do it, man. Right? The film is directed by Matt Peters, written by J. Michael Straczynski. It is produced by Lisa Holbara, executive produced by Sam Register and J. Michael Straczynski. Right? Post-production from Kit Brown. Line production from Alessia Ornelies. And Rick Morales was supervising. Music was handled by Lalita Ritmanis, Michael McCuston, and Christopher Carter. Craig Paulston edits the piece, with Wes Gleason taking care of casting. Art direction is Matthew Girardi and Chris Glenn. We've got Mike Borkowski, Tom DeRuza, Brandon Hahn, Kevin Hager, Mike Innerman, Mikkel Javid Kamur, Jenny Lee, Chi Nug, Erwin Oasis, Maribel Posers, Alexander Sparks, and Tim Sabbo, all in the art department, story building, visual designers, all of that jazz. Visual effects from Jason Plapp, Timothy N. Ryan, and Jaeyoung Zhang. Our cast. Okay, so Bruce Boxleitner is back as John Sheridan. We've got Peter Jerzak as Londo Malari. Claudia Christensen as Susan Ivanova. Bill Mummy as Lenore. Tracy Scoggins as Elizabeth Lockley. Lita Alexander, voiced by Patricia Tolman. Then we have, right, Delenn was voiced by Rebecca Riddy. Andrew Morgadou is Jakar. David Sheridan, voiced by Peter Michael. Phil Lamar is Dr. Stephen Franklin. Mara Junot is the reporter and the computer voice. Michael Garibaldi, voiced by Anthony Hanson. Zafarus and Jeffrey Sheridan is voiced by Paul Gouet. Yeah. There's unfortunately a lot of the original cast died over the years, Dear, oh dear. But we got the film. The gist: travel across the galaxy with John Sheridan as he unexpectedly finds himself transported through multiple timelines and alternate realities in a quest to find his way back home. Along the way, he reunites with some familiar faces while discovering cosmic new revelations about the history, purpose, and meaning of the universe. So yeah, you know what I mean? Like, we didn't know we were going to get this, then we find out an animated series. So you're just, man, it was just so curious, right? Because you saw an image like of the animation, and it looked fine, but it's just like, but what will it look like in totalitarian? You know what I mean? What will it be like watching this, 70-minute film in this style? I think I did enjoy The Road Home. I don't think it is for people who have not dabbled in the Babylon 5 universe. I think there's a lot of things that people would find confusing, or just, it's not so much confusing, but you just have so many questions. Be like, okay, but what does that mean? What's the relevance in that? You know what I mean? There would just be a lot of that if you've never seen the series. It's kind of like how in season 1 they show you the whole station, right? So then they didn't have to reference it ever again, really, because you knew where the shuttle bays were, you knew what this room was and where this is and all of that kind of stuff, but if you hadn't watched season 1, you'd be a little confused, and that's with The Road Home. You need to have seen the core series. Now, it was like a memory lane trip, watching this, because we bump into, as it says, we bump into a lot of old characters, some of which, as I said, like the original actor is dead. So it was kind of surreal, man. And the voices were pretty on point, you know what I mean? Of the, people that have passed. Like, they did find very good replacements, I mean, replacement isn't really the word, right? It is someone to continue the legacy of. So all of that. And, you got references to things that were kind of touched on in the main series, but didn't go into any depth. We had mentions of alternative realities, right? Of recordings of, things blowing up, but that never happened. Wait, how? Wait, they're talking about this happening and it's never happened. So we kind of touch upon those things in The Road Home, which is, really like kind of fun, right? Little nods, little throwbacks, all of that kind of thing. But in that, right, it's not really a new story, right? Because what it's done, it's, we go on this time jumping adventure, which was kind of similar to War Without End, right? The episode where Sheridan, the tachyons and Zafir and just all of that. So it is very kind of similar to that, right? It's not necessarily a retread, but it feels very, like, I think we've been here before, So there is that. I mean, the core message of the film is love, right? It's the love of John and Delenn, which was always a big part of this film, which was, it's nice, but again, it's not necessarily new, So I think anyone watching this, anyone coming to this, like someone that's been waiting for Babylon 5 for so long, you're kind of like, oh, that was nice, right? It's like when you're in the desert. I'm going to use a desert, right? But you've got no water. And you're like, oh man, I'm so thirsty. I just need a drink. I just need a drink. And someone gives you a little cup, right? So it's not going to fully quench your thirst, but it holds you down for a minute. You know what I mean? And that's what the road home feels like, right? It's not necessarily the epic story we're hoping for, right? The continuation we are really thirsting for. But it's been so long, right? It's been so long and you've missed the characters. So it is a nice little hit that can hold you down until another installment. But I mean, we need that other installment kind of quick, right? It can't be another decade or so, because then we'd just be like, ugh. But it would hold you down for a little while, right? And as far as we know, the reboot is still happening. Like, there's been no word that I've seen anyway, that, it's dead in the water. So hopefully, this is kind of like an amuse-bouche, right? By revisiting these characters, by kind of talking about the Shadow War and all of this stuff, right? The Vorlons and everything. It feels like it's a little like, yeah, let's dust everything off so you're ready for this next thing. That's what it's kind of, it kind of gives you that vibe of that, this was the reawakening of something, the rumblings before the sonic wave comes. You know what I mean? Hopefully, I don't know anything. I'm just throwing shit out there. So Road Home, it's okay. It's not sensational. It's not going to invoke the same emotions as when you watched like some of those classic episodes. They're just the classic season 2 and season 2, 3 and 4. Let's just say it's not going to give you those vibes, but it will kind of, give you that little warm hug, give you that warm Babylon 5 hug that you've been like missing. So if you're a fan of the series, Babylon 5, The Road Home, you'll probably want to check it out. If you've never watched the series, don't start here. Don't start here. You'll just be a little confused, a little miffed. But another thing it did do, it did make me want to go all the way back and, rewatch the entirety of the series and the films. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely reawakened the thirst for Babylon 5. And hopefully, people, we will get new Babylon 5 real soon.